Can I share this table? 5 words that changed 3 lives forever. A one-legged girl walks into a crowded cafe, desperate to feel close to the family she lost in a tragedy that took everything. A single father and his 6-year-old daughter sit at a corner table, unaware they're about to meet someone who will shatter and rebuild their world. Before we continue, please tell us, where in the world are you tuning in from? We'd love seeing how far our stories travel. The corner bean was packed that Saturday morning in late March. Portland's first real sunshine after months of gray winter had drawn everyone out. Couples on dates, students with laptops, families with strollers. Every table was full, every seat taken. Timothy Smith glanced up from his black coffee and caught sight of her. A young woman on crutches was navigating through the crowded cafe, blonde hair pulled into a loose ponytail, brown eyes scanning desperately for an empty seat. She moved with practiced efficiency despite the crutches. But what struck Timothy most was the expression on her face, determination mixed with something that looked like barely contained desperation.
And then John's hamster escaped during show and tell and ran under Mrs. Faith's desk, and she screamed so loud. 6-year-old Starla was in the middle of an animated story, her hands gesturing wildly. Timothy smiled at his daughter, but kept watching the woman. She approached a table near the door where a couple sat close together, clearly on a date. He saw her speak to them, saw the woman shake her head firmly. The young woman on crutches nodded, apologized, and moved to another table where a man sat alone, papers and laptops spread everywhere. Again, she was refused. Timothy watched her shoulders slump, watched the way she bit her lip as if fighting back tears. "Daddy, are you even listening?" Starla's voice pulled him back. "Of course, sweetie, the hamster escaped. That was like 5 minutes ago. Now I'm telling you about—" But Timothy's attention had drifted again. The woman on crutches was standing in the middle of the cafe now, looking around with an expression that broke his heart. Lost, alone, like she was about to give up on something important. For a brief moment, their gazes met across the crowded cafe. Timothy saw vulnerability there, hope, and a deep sadness that seemed to radiate from her very core. She took a breath, adjusted her crutches, and started walking towards them. "Excuse me," she said softly when she reached their corner table by the window. Her voice was steady, but Timothy could hear the emotion trembling underneath. "I'm so sorry to bother you. I know this is probably strange, but would you mind if I shared this table with you? The cafe is completely full, and I—" She paused, and her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I really need to be here today. It's very important to me." Timothy stood immediately, pulling out the empty chair across from them. "Of course. Please, sit. I'm Timothy, and this is my daughter Starla." Relief washed over the young woman's face like sunrise breaking through storm clouds. She carefully settled into the chair and propped her crutches against the wall beside her. Thank you so much. I'm Moon." She looked at them both, and Timothy saw her eyes were wet with tears that hadn't quite fallen. "I asked those other tables first, but they said they needed privacy. I was starting to think I'd have to leave, and Her voice caught in her throat. "I really couldn't bear to leave without being here for a while." "We are happy to share our table," Timothy said warmly. "This place gets crazy when the weather's nice." Starla, never one to be shy, leaned forward with bright curiosity. "We come here every single Saturday. It's our special tradition. I always get hot chocolate with extra whipped cream, and Daddy gets boring black coffee." She wrinkled her nose at Timothy's mug. "Do you like hot chocolate?" Moon smiled, and despite the sadness that clung to her, the smile reached her eyes. "I love hot chocolate. That sounds perfect for today."
A server appeared, and Moon ordered coffee and a croissant. As the server left, Starla launched into conversation with the enthusiasm only a 6-year-old could muster. "I'm in 1st grade, and my teacher is Mrs. Faith, and she has a hamster in our classroom named Cheeto because he's orange and fluffy. Do you have any pets?" "I don't right now," Moon said, her fingers wrapped around her coffee cup like she was trying to absorb its warmth. "But I used to have a cat named Luna. She was gray with white paws. "That's such a pretty name. Luna means moon in Spanish. My friend Maya taught me that. Her family speaks Spanish." Moon's smile widened. "It does. That's exactly why I named her that." Timothy found himself relaxing as they talked. There was something about Moon. Despite the sadness she carried, she listened to Starla with genuine interest. She asked follow-up questions about school, about Cheeto the hamster, about Starla's best friend when she mentioned it. She laughed at the funny parts, gasped at the dramatic moments. They'd been sitting together for about 15 minutes when Moon carefully set down her coffee cup. She looked at both of them with an expression Timothy couldn't quite decipher. Gratitude mixed with something deeper, more painful. "I want to tell you both something. The reason I needed to be here today specifically, it's because today is my birthday. I'm 23 today." Starla's eyes went wide with pure delight. "It's your birthday?"
And without a moment's hesitation, without asking permission or feeling any self-consciousness, Starla burst into song. "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Moon, happy birthday to you." Timothy immediately joined in, his deeper voice blending with his daughter's enthusiastic, slightly off-key soprano. Several nearby patrons glanced over. A woman at the next table smiled and joined in for the final line. An older couple across the cafe added their voices too. When the song ended, Moon had tears streaming down her face, but she was smiling through them, and Timothy saw something shift in her expression, a crack in whatever armor she'd been wearing. That was... She wiped at her eyes with trembling fingers. "That was the most beautiful thing anyone's done for me in a very long time. Thank you, both of you." "Everyone needs birthday songs," Starla declared with absolute conviction. Then her face lit up with another idea. "Daddy, we need to get her a birthday cake. You can't have a birthday without cake." "Oh no, please," Moon started to protest, shaking her head. Timothy glanced toward the display case near the counter where the cafe kept their fresh pastries and small cakes. "They actually make really good cakes here. Would that be okay? It's your birthday. You should definitely have cake." "You've both been so incredibly kind already," Moon said with her voice thick with emotion. "I don't want to be any trouble." "You're not trouble at all," Timothy said gently. "Really, please let us celebrate with you." Despite Moon's continued protests, Timothy excused himself and went to the counter. He returned a few minutes later carrying a small chocolate cake with vanilla buttercream frosting and a single candle. When he lit the candle, several people at nearby tables noticed. Someone started singing again, and soon their entire corner of the cafe had joined in. Moon closed her eyes, and Timothy saw her lips move, making a wish. She blew out the candle. A small ripple of applause spread through the space. "Okay, birthday girl gets the first piece, and the biggest piece," Starla announced, taking charge of the cake distribution with serious authority. As they shared the cake, something shifted in the atmosphere. The sweetness of the moment, the unexpected kindness from strangers, seemed to crack open something in Moon that had been locked tight. "This cafe," she began, her voice barely above a whisper, staring down at her plate. "This was my family's place. Our Saturday morning tradition, exactly like yours." Timothy felt his chest tighten. He glanced at Starla, who had stopped eating her cake, her intuitive child sense picking up on the weight of what was coming. Moon looked up, meeting Timothy's eyes. "Me, my little sister Kennedy, and our parents. We live just a few blocks from here, in a small apartment above a bookstore. My dad was a firefighter at Station 14, and my mom was a pediatric nurse at Dornbecker Children's Hospital." She paused, and Timothy saw her hands begin to tremble around her fork. "We never had much money, but Saturday mornings here at the Corner Bean, these were the happiest times of my entire life. Kennedy would always order strawberry waffles with extra syrup. My dad made these terrible jokes that made my mom groan but made us laugh. My mom would steal bites of everyone's food. We'd sit at a table just like this one, and for those few hours, nothing else mattered. Timothy reached across the table instinctively, placing his hand gently over hers.